Big
We
dog
just
will
messing with you,
holler.
Rouse. All right, go ahead, Rouse. Lead us into the next topic. We talking about that goat stuff you said you wanted to chop it up about. Go ahead, tell everybody what we about to talk about.
Okay, listen up, because the other day we was all talking in the group chat, and it sparked up a really good discussion about trying to kill the end of talking about comparing LeBron and Jordan. Because at the end of the day, everyone's gonna have their own era. Everyone's gonna have their own goal, favorite player, whomever. Whether it's T Mac, Kobe, Dr. J, Steve Smith, you gonna have your favorite guy. But when we come down to saying who's
Mm-hmm.
the best of the era, like when we talk about one A, one B type shit, Jordan got a statue built up at the end of his third championship. And once he won the third, they built the statue. Before he even retired, he didn't retire yet. He didn't get to retire yet, they built the statue. That's it. Greatest player ever was and greatest player ever will be. You can look in front of the United States. Still there to this day. Braun, his third championship, came back from 3-1. Say he was the greatest player that ever was. Man, MJ put out the damn documentary that same day. What do y'all think it will be the criteria for the next GOAT to enter the chat? Is it 3 championships? Is it 3 MVPs? Is it the
Okay.
resume? Is it expectations? What's going to have that discussion to put them into that to maybe make a 1C possibly?
Okay, to give a little bit of okay, one question. You said the era. What is the era we're going to look for? Let's get some
Let's,
guidelines for
let's,
it so we're not all over the
let's,
place.
let's,
So what's the era? What's the era we're going to look for?
I don't say we're looking ahead. We're looking ahead. We're not going to talk about how everything's going to shake up with how things are. But when you talk about something, when you're looking for the next person for you that's going to enter that chat, what is it going to take for them to enter?
The next up. Okay, and you said name the person and
Look,
give
look,
like
look.
maybe three different
No,
criteria.
no, no, no.
What's the
You ain't got
guidelines
to name
to it?
you ain't got to name nobody. You just got to say the criteria.
Oh,
Let's
okay. You're saying what are the qualities? What are like the top qualities that are they're going to need to
do
have?
MJ.
Got
You
you.
want someone to be able to
Got you.
do it all.
Okay. I
You
got you. All right. Give me a second. I don't know if anybody else got theirs. Go ahead, because I got to think
That's a
about
big
this.
one
What
if
are
you
some
want.
criteria to be the next GOAT?
Well, I would say one of the just because you brought it up, the statue with for Jordan, right?
Right.
That to me, Chicago. Okay, before Jordan, they had Artist Gilmore there, and
Yes, sir. Shout out to my
uh,
godfather. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
he didn't he don't have a statue. If I'm correct, he doesn't have a statue.
No, no, I don't think so at all.
I
I don't
don't
even
know.
think
But
Scotty do either.
I don't
but you got
believe
to
so.
think prior to Jordan, right? The Chicago Bulls were just they were the Chicago Bulls. Like they weren't the greatest team. They weren't in that conversation, right?
Right.
Jordan kind of pulled them out of that poverty kind of section, right? Got them chips and everything. So it was like that was their way of like, man, this is the guy that literally done everything for us. So that was their reward to him. Cause you gotta think, LA had a bunch LA has a bunch of statues in front of it of the Crip Arena now, right? And I mean like a bunch of them.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Crypto.
Crypto.
Hey, what for
We don't. We not trying to
what
get
for
the
Sorry.
K
bloods mad
John?
right now.
Throw it
This
up.
man
My
said straight up.
my bad. My bad. The crypto. The crypt You know what? I hate it. I'm calling it the Staples Center. I'm
Y'all,
calling it the Staples Center.
Staples Center,
That's what I
yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
They it's not the crypto
Or the
it's not
Lakers
it's
arena.
not called the crypto arena until they win a chip there. So it's Staples Center for me.
Hey, they on
So
the way. Hopefully, we'll
so
see.
in front of the Staples Center, there's a bunch of statues there. When like this is just a backup question, just a question in the back. When do you think LeBron will get his statue in front of that run of that arena? But to answer your question though,
When he gets them another
you think
ring.
so?
When he gets them a ring in their arena. I'm sorry, I don't put an asterisk on it, but society
I
does
don't.
put an asterisk on
I
the
don't think
bubble.
he'll get it with
So
LA. I think he'll get it with
I
Cleveland
don't
here
know.
in LA, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna.
And it also depends on what happens after. Like if he leaves and AD just all of a sudden takes over and has like a crazy career and gets them more rings without LeBron, it'll overshine LeBron's. It'll have to bring up the question of, damn, did we really need LeBron or did we just need to trade for AD? Of course, we all know deep down they needed LeBron, but it'll overshine his significance towards the organization. So
Yeah. That's another question.
I feel like we
Yeah,
can't answer that question yet. We have to see because the man, we don't know how many
yeah.
years he's got left. It was easier with Brady because it was like, okay, we kind of know.
LeBron
We
is
kind of
like
know, you know, but
he
with
takes
this,
care of
it's
his
like,
body.
oh,
So his body's not fully breaking down. He's gonna have surgery for the first time this end of the season, but his body's not fully broken down on.
yeah. And you can take
Yeah,
off game. You can take off a good solid amount of time. In football, you only have like 16 games. You can't take too many games off or your career's kind of, or the season's
yeah.
kind of already over.
But back
So,
to the GOAT question. It's kind of hard to decide who's going to be the next GOAT and next criteria for that because we don't know where the game is going right now. Like right now, the way
mhm.
it's looking, we're going back into the land of the bigs, with the bigs being constantly in the MVP
Mhm.
conversation. So that's what's making it kind of because like now it's like okay, you have to deal with Jokic and Embiid as like those guys. So you need to start getting big men that could guard them. And you can see the
Yeah.
teams that who don't have those big men, the Suns, getting abused by the big man who's Jokic and Embiid, right? But with that being said, you still got because of Steph Curry. You kind of I don't want to say blame, but you got to blame it on Steph Curry. Kids now are shooting now. That's all they want
Exactly.
to do. Just even
Curry
put it
has
there. Like I coach basketball this morning. I'm having my kids do layup lines, and one kid goes, "Can we shoot threes?" I go, I'm like, "Yo, there's more to basketball than threes." But I like shoot threes. I want to shoot threes, bro. You only shoot 20%. And what made it worse was
Oh my
his
lord.
teammate was like, "You need to do layups. You need to stop for three." So
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
my mind, I'm like, "Yo, Steph Curry got these kids thinking like threes are like the only good shot. Like that's the best shot." Like, and my
Exactly.
Kids nowadays will go on a transition with an
yes,
open layup and run to the 3-point line and shoot a three and miss it.
and then get mad when they get
And
pulled.
yeah, and that shows to one of my criteria because mine so far I got three. Actually, no, really two, and the third one's coming to me. I just want to just wait a little bit longer, maybe to let the conversation simmer. Uh,
Yeah,
I can't find the word.
marinate.
Whatever,
Yeah,
marinate. All
but
right.
I would say,
One is
oh,
dominance of the
okay,
game. Like, how unstoppable are you?
okay,
And how do you influence the game outside of the court that you're playing on? You know, Curry showed that. Like before we well, not before because the dominance and the influence kind of came with him as he won the rings. So I will say right now, exclude the winning titles, exclude his 4 rings and his MVPs and the accolades. I'm talking about the way he dominates and you can't stop him shooting threes and he influences people that are not on the same court as him to play like him. He influences them. So those are my two criteria right there. How do you dominate and how do you influence the game overall? I'm the third one is leaning towards accolades, but me personally, the way the game is shaping, and sports in general, just as I get older, I'm starting to see things differently from just an overall team win because so many things can happen. And it's also based off your organization. Michael Jordan had a great organization that built around him that gave him, he already had the intangibles of becoming the GOAT. But all it takes is for one bad general manager and you don't get that ring, or one bad coach and so it's like I'm only going to go off of things that affect, I mean, that are that can be controlled by that specific player. So those are going to be my criteria because I don't want to put too many outside factors. Steph Curry, if they don't go and draft Clay and build around him, I don't think Steph Curry gets to that level. He's still going to be a great shooter and possibly influence the game, but he's not going to get those rings or those accolades at that
oh,
level. He's not going to dominate at that level because he's not going to have that system around him. Because if he was on the wrong system or the wrong team, who's to say? So that's why I'm not going to put the accolades in there yet, because the accolades have more factors to it than just your actual game itself.
I'll say
So
the accolades
I'm
come
gonna just go with those two right now.
after both of those requirements. Like if you get once you get those two, your first two
Yeah.
requirements that you had, the accolades will come with that. Like that comes in there. Your influence on the game
Yeah,
and everything.
Yeah. So that's why it's hard to give the GOAT. That's why it's hard to say the next GOAT's got to have these accolades, because it's like I got to see those two
some more.
first, and I feel like there's a third one there, but it's just coming to me yet. I don't know
There's
yet.
so
Go
many
ahead.
records and accolades and achievements that's not going to be reached that we're going to be able to see in our lifetime. We're not going to see someone break the all-time record. We're not going to see someone break Steph Curry's record. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of shit that we're seeing now in the game that's changed. Yeah, sometimes you can argue that be like it's easy to get fast, but I would say the game is more skilled to where you could create these abilities and create these niches that you could be able to survive in the league and make your mark. Right? Not everyone can be a PJ Tucker. Not everyone can be a Jimmy Butler or James Harden. You know what I'm saying? They may have that shortcomings or
Hmm.
careers, but when you look at how they play and what they bring to the game, they all, like you said, bring different impacts, and that's what I really look for. Like I said, the impact, accolades, that shit gonna make it come. But for me, the biggest thing, because of social media, is the not running from it. Like, like someone that's like, I'm not saying they're going to attack it like a LeBron because everyone's one to one. You know what I'm saying? Being able to say, hey, bro, at the end of the day, you know he's gonna hoop. You know what I'm saying?
So
Yeah,
dominance.
not even just dominance, but the love. You can see the love of the game. Like you know, MJ loved the game. You know, Braun loved the game.
Well, you're saying attacking the
Yeah,
moment, and
like
to
you know,
attack the moment, you have to
yeah,
dominate
it's
it.
like embracing it, saying like, yo, this is what I want. I'm here. Like not like the Philadelphia walking up the court when they're looking at snaps and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you want to see when someone say, hey, bro, that's my next
Okay.
goat. Like, you know, if a nigga down 30 on some Curry shit, I'm still gonna shoot this motherfucking three in your face, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? We still got a chance to come. I want to see that. That never.
Okay, you want to see hustle.
Yeah, I'm,
That's
yeah,
what you're
real
looking
shit, bro.
for. You're looking for a
You
hustle.
looking for
Okay,
heart.
that's
You're
good.
looking for heart.
Toughness. Heart,
Yeah,
heart. Yeah, you're looking for heart and hustle. Okay, I like that. That's definitely a good quality for a next
I would
GOAT.
nah,
say like my bad, Rose. Go ahead. My bad.
no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead, bro.
I would say that man, because in my mind, y'all requirements are great. Like, y'all are like kind of saying it before I could get those requirements out. Because it's like, man, those are like literally this all the stuff y'all literally just listed is all the stuff I had on my list. And like it end up
Yeah.
like I'd be thinking about side questions, right? Because in my mind, I was just like, yo, are we secretly? I don't know how to word it the right way, but do you think that Steph Curry is going to be like he's going to be talked about all time, but is he going to be limited, but only because he happened to come around the time that LeBron James was around? Like, would he be elevated into this conversation of GOAT when LeBron James retired? Like, because I understand, like, you have to understand when Steph Curry came into the
Um.
league, and I'm talking about college days going into the league, he was already proclaimed as one of the best shooters of all time. And
It was
and then
it was
after
it
I'm.
was
I want to say
Go
after
tricky
ahead,
because
Russ.
folks.
Go ahead.
his first year he ended up getting hurt,
Mhm.
and we questioned if he was still going to be able to play around his first year, second year, and all that. And then third year he come back and he's still shooting. He's getting his groove. And then everybody's like, okay, now, and you got to understand too, the Warriors was they was losers when he first started off. They were losers. So when they finally started getting that media attention, and everybody was like, this might be the next guy. Like he can shoot. Like he's leading the future. Like he was in the position of the Ja Morants and the Zions. But think about if Ja and Zion happened to come around, or Luca happened to come around when Kobe Bryant is kind of around his peak time. Like, that's kind of how.
Okay, I
Can
see
I?
what you're saying,
int-
and it. Go ahead. Go ahead,
That's
Cooley.
why I put Stephen Curry higher on anybody's top five because of his impact. Like, what did the game look like? What was the state of the game before he entered the league? And what's the state of what's the current state of the game as he's, in his prime? And also what Playboy Troy said, what was the state of his team before he got drafted? And then up to this point. So that's why I feel like people are not gonna realize that until LeBron leaves, because LeBron is such a big, like, he garners so much attention to the point where, like, Steph Curry's has always been there. Like,
Spot,
always
yeah,
in
spot.
they're always in position to win. They're always a contender. Like, they're never not a contender. Like, it's like you got Draymond Green, yeah, you got Klay Thompson, but the only team that was doing that consistently, other than Kobe's team, LeBron's team, was the Spurs. And Spurs had Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Ginobili. They always had a bench. Literally, it's Steph Curry, it's Draymond, it's Klay. That was the nucleus, and then everybody else. So I think we got to really put more
Mhm.
respect on Stephen Curry, and even culturally, as the game is played, you see it in the kids, you see it in the youth. That's impact, that's influence, that's legacy. Stop
Yeah,
playing.
I think it also goes off of what you value most. Going back to the Spurs, if you value fundamentals, Tim's your GOAT. If you value um mentality, Kobe's gonna be your GOAT. If you value the three ball and the impact of it, Curry's gonna be your GOAT. If you value just physical, I hate to just say LeBron as physical specimen. It's hard to give him one. Like him and Jordan are hard to just give one
No, LeBron
category.
is like the
I
most
feel like that.
complete archetype of what a player should play the
When,
game. So
when
Pat,
you're creating a player,
Yeah, there we go. That's a
hey,
better way of
look,
saying
I,
it
I,
I
without
think
just
I
saying
sent it to
physical.
Rose.
Yeah, yeah. You sent it to me too. I know what you're talking about. That one
Yeah.
that broke it down and said if this is what you're looking for, if this is this, and so it's like, that's why it's hard to say is Curry, because I get what you're saying, where you're saying like, oh, is he going to be blinded by the GOAT because of LeBron? It's like, well, we could say the same for LeBron and Kobe being there, and also for the fact that like I wouldn't say LeBron played at the same time as Jordan, but Jordan's hype hadn't died down yet when LeBron came in the league.
Well,
So it's
yeah.
like
When LeBron
if
came in,
LeBron were to come into the league at the same time as Steph Curry, let's just say there's no Steph Curry and LeBron just comes in at that same time, it would be easier for him to smooth into it because Jordan
his
wasn't still
first
in the
argument,
league or wasn't just
Steph
retired.
Curry's first argument when he got drafted in was him versus Blake fucking Griffin.
Well, yeah,
No,
because you just never know. Yeah,
no,
you
no,
just never
that,
know.
that,
You
that
know what
was
I'm
that was the
saying?
argument that was once had when Steph played for guys.
And there was a time Blake Griffin was like, he was
Like
one of the best dunkers.
10 feet.
He was definitely the
10 feet.
best dunking center in the league at the
He,
time,
yeah, he was one of
up
the best
until
dunkers Bundy ever
power forward.
Curry
played.
just shot off.
Steph improved. It became what we and shit. Hey, I'm not trying to get. Hey, I'm gonna give credit when credit is due. That man Skip said that just said Steph will be one of the greatest shooters. We all laughed. Niggas laughed at him on the table, and it was like, oh no, he's just an idiot. Blake Griffin's gonna be nice because of the league.
I don't remember it.
No,
I don't think I
no,
was there.
it was that draft. When he got drafted in 2009.
Yeah, I wasn't watching the draft. I
I
was
remember
outside.
seeing that stuff, and it was kind of like on some bug shit. It was like, okay, like, and I liked stuff at the time too. I didn't see this shit coming, and
How does this man remember a quote from
because
2009 from
it
somebody?
was because it's yeah, I know I have a weird memory for certain shit. Like certain shit in front. They really do. They really fucking.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. It wasn't until like 2016, 2017 until I was like, this Stephen A. dude is on TV a
Yeah,
lot.
get him to watch
hey,
him because he
and
was on
I used to
Like,
talk all the time about that
and
game.
I watched Sports Center every single day growing up. That's the thing. I watched Sports Center every single day, and it was still hard to remember some of these dudes. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember Stuart Stock because of the
Yeah,
cooler than the other
yeah,
side of the
that
pool
was
quote. And then, of course, when he got sick, rest in peace to him, they really, talked a lot more about him as well as he got into those like stages of cancer. But other than that, a lot of the sportscasters, it's
because
like,
Stephen A. Because people like to
it's hard to
forget that Stephen
remember.
A. got fired from ESPN.
He got fired as well, and he was also a
Yeah,
bit
and
guy. He wasn't
he
on a
literally only
specific
showed up like
show
for a
that I
couple
watched
minutes and that was
personally.
it. He'd dip out.
Yeah, like I remember Keyshawn Johnson because he was on NFL Live with not Boomer, Chris, whatever the dude that would be like whoop on
That's
Monday
boom.
nights
That's
or
boom.
whatever. Like
I
I
don't say
remember
that's
like
boom.
some of those guys. Yeah, Boomer. Yeah, I was about to say Boomer Esiason, but that's like an old OG quarterback from back in the day. It's just Chris Boomer. That's what it is. Like I remember him and Chris Johnson and some other dudes that was on there. Chris Carter. Shout out to him. He used to ball back in the
Yeah,
day with
shout out
Randy
Chris Carter.
Moss.
He had some good. He was a good analyst.
Yeah, they was good. That NFL Live was solid. I used to really rock with Keyshawn Johnson.
and
They used to really talk
Well,
that mess
we
back in the day.
to go back to the original topic though. We, not
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
just coming with the top, not just coming with one of you guys, but some of the top five, you know, Rushmore. Like, if we breaking down what you really like or saying who's the best four, you know, like for me, I only have for my four is Bron, MJ, Magic, and Tim. I have Steph at five. Only because this only person left to pass at the point guard position technically is Magic. Because of the length of Magic's career, even though it's about damn near the same length,
What
for me favorite, I'm taking Steph
for my
Curry.
question?
I'm
But
taking
if you
Olajuwon over Tim.
put the undisputed like there's nothing else to talk about, it's you know what I'm saying. For me, that's kind of where I put the line
But
at.
that's my
You know what I'm
question.
saying?
Then
But that's
what
the guy
what more does Steph need to do to pass Magic? Like what more does he have to do?
yeah, honestly,
And he doesn't have to do
one more
anything for me
that
because
one
I've never seen Magic in my life.
so what could have who could have said he couldn't have more if he could have played past HIV? That would be the
Michael
argument.
Jordan would
Couldn't
have
stay
said
Okay.
off
more.
that. Couldn't stay off that wall.
Michael Jordan would have had to say more.
I mean, but then he was
Magic Johnson couldn't stop drinking that Tang, that sweet Tang.
yeah, he can't get away from it. And he got his ass.
Because I think if I'm correct, Magic. So Magic played he played in the Dream Team, but
Yeah,
Magic literally retired what the year
yeah.
before then, before the Dream Team.
Yeah, the year before. They
And
literally the
I'm
year
about to
before
say,
because it was forced retirement because they said he had to because there was that you know how that shit was back in the day. Ain't nobody had no cure, so like we can't have you out here because niggas don't want. Mark
I get that. No, I get that, but I'm saying you have to think who the year the Dream Team, right? Who won the championship
mm-hmm.
that year?
I
Jordan.
could have told
It was,
maybe the Bull. What
it was
was it?
It was
92?
Michael Jordan.
No, because the
It was the
Olympics was in
Bulls.
the Bulls.
96, and then so the other
Because I
one
would
was in
say Jordan
92.
had
Because
So
just
yeah,
came
that
off
was
that
the
came
Dream
Bulls.
off
Yeah,
of
Team,
winning
Bulls
the
era.
ring, and that was the year that I want to say that's the year that Detroit didn't shake his hand. I want
yeah.
to say that's the same
Wait,
year.
nice.
I don't think so
No,
because
no, because they were early 90s. They went early 90s. The end of the 80s was the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah, my bad.
Detroit.
Okay, my bad. I
yeah,
got
that
that
was
wrong.
the end of the '80s,
I thought Jordan won his first one in
Like
90.
like
I thought
90.
that was his
No,
first
he
ring.
he won his first ring was 91. It was 91, 92,
'91.
93.
He
Then
went three-peat,
Yeah, I'm about
retired,
to say he
went
went
then he
three
retired.
times. So yeah, that
He
was in the middle
retired.
of his dynasty.
No, because I would say his last ring was 98. So in
yeah,
98,
he
Mm-hmm.
went
97,
91.
96, and then he was off for 2 years. So 5 and 4 went to
No,
Houston. So yeah, 3, 2, and 1 should have been to Chicago.
no. It really was the one he came back that got hit by the Orlando. We just say 2 years. We be forgetting
No,
about
he
that
can't.
shit.
No, I'm not saying. I say
Looking
two
it up
years
right now,
because
guys.
he
I'm
came
looking
back
it up right
halfway
now,
through the
guys.
season.
Yeah, he came out halfway through the season. They went to the playoffs. They got bounced by the Orlando
Yeah,
Magic. He went
that's why
91,
nobody really
92,
counts that as a
93.
full year because like, yo, you really kind of just pop back up. Was like, hey, y'all, I want to play basketball again. That's kind of how it's set up.
Uh,
So it's like,
Real
but
shit though.
the only reason I say that,
It would have been crazy if he had
but I
won,
want to
but
say, I want
yeah.
to say Dream Team was 92.
It was 92 because that was the height. That was the height of Michael Jordan popularity. Because
Yeah,
Yeah, we got it right there. 91, 92, 93. Took years off. 96,
yeah,
97,
he
98. He
three-peated.
three-peated basically. He
Yeah,
three-peated,
but
left,
I'm
came
saying
back, and
that
three-peated
same
again.
year,
Whew. See, I feel like that's a way better way. When people be like, "Oh, Jordan's 6-0," it's like, okay, but when you tell it to me like that, that gives me a little bit more to be like,
yeah,
okay, now I can see why that should go. The man three-peated, left,
yeah,
and came back
that's
and
kind of that's what
three-peated
everybody's
again.
point of
He
conversation.
dynastied, left,
Yeah,
and he doubled dynasty. He doubled dynasty and took a break in between. You know what I'm saying? I like that, and it wasn't a break of losing. It'd be different if it was like, he had a 3-year dynasty, lost. It's kind of like how Alabama had those few years where they were losing to Clemson real quick, and now they're kind of back. It's like but it was different when they had like Mark Ingram and they was balling back then, and like and Eddie Lacy and Derrick Henry like back then when they was really solid, and then they kind of took that break with Jalen Hurts and Tua and all those things that went on with that, but. Yeah, it just shows differently with the dynasty how it's like, if you, I get it
but I
now
was saying like
what they
the
mean
year
by that
that
stay
Dream
goat.
Team he won a chip, and Magic having because Magic had literally just retired the year before. And I don't know who won a championship the year before then, but no. this was
Houston, right?
91, the 91 champion.
Houston.
I don't know exactly
I
who won
think.
the year before Chicago,
Okay,
but
I can pull
I'm
that up.
saying
It was Detroit.
Detroit. Okay, that makes sense. They had beat them. They
No,
were
I was
already
thinking Detroit. Yeah, I
Detroit
was
went
thinking
back
yeah.
to back.
Detroit.
90, 89, 90.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, 89 and
Come on,
90.
Thank
man.
you.
Yep, yep. You're
Thank you,
right.
I'm
thank you.
on
Because
it.
I was like, I cannot remember when Jordan had when I didn't know that was that year because they literally just went back to back. Yeah. So
Because it was that whole argument. Oh, he can't get over the
yeah,
hump.
he
He
can't get over
can't.
the hump. That's what it was. And that time he finally got over the hump, he actually won the championship that year that they finally beat Detroit. So with that being said, when Magic
Okay.
retired, he was kind of he was already on the decline of his career because he was already going because I about to say Detroit beat LA beat LA one time.
Yeah. Then I remember
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
already in for 14 years. He got drafted in 80,
I
right?
think
So he had
Jordan's
already
first
been in there for a
finals
good
was
minute.
against the old Magic and James Worthy when they four niggas
wait,
jumped
say it
the
again.
bench. That was some weird shit though. The first championship that
Yeah,
Jordan won was against the Lakers.
but I'm saying Magic
Like,
was
yeah,
already on the tail
they
end of
had
his
like
career
four
though.
niggas drop out because of
They was
Lakers.
already on the tail end. Like the Lakers' whole team was literally old. They literally
The 92 Dream Team was Larry Bird and Magic Johnson passing the
yeah.
torch to Michael Jordan saying, this is
They
your league.
barely like literally looking at the practice videos. They're
They
both
both
on the
they both
very
played
tail
college.
end of their careers. So
They
that's
both,
why I was like, when you said if Jordan, sorry, not Jordan, if Magic never retired, how many rings would he have? He probably wouldn't have had none. He would have probably had the same amount that he have now
None.
because
I think soon
yeah,
that's gonna be LeBron and
they're gonna
Steph.
have
They're gonna have to do the same thing. The same way Bird and Magic had to do it.
yeah,
They're gonna have to
that
do it.
guy's not in the league.
That guy's not in the league yet, though. That guy's not here yet. He's either not
They
in the
keep
league or he
the
hasn't
narrative is
become
Jason
that
Tatum.
yet. It's gonna be a guy. It's gonna be a guy that Kenneth might have been like, I don't think he deserves to be on the first team.
Oh, okay. Wait,
if any,
this is a
anything,
one this is just a one statement real quick though about the first team. Clippers are. I know the Clippers are crying about the fact that they got rid of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I know they got. They gotta be.
Oh, he
If they
was
say
over
they
there.
not,
Oh
they're
my
lying.
gosh.
They're lying.
I forget about
They
that.
gotta be. If you telling me
We don't think
they
he
only
would have
got rid
meshed
of
well
him
with
was
Paul
for Paul.
no,
That's the
you
reason
know
why
they
they
would
got.
have.
yeah, and they traded him to get Paul George because that's
I
Oklahoma
Would
definitely
you
City
rather have
hired
Shea
remember
for him.
that.
Gilgeous-Alexander
They
or Paul
dropped
George right now?
Clippers being the Clippers. Clippers clipping it up.
Right now,
I would have still picked
Shea
Shea
Gillis, but at the time,
because I thought Shea
You
was
got to go with the youth. You don't know.
they were cashing in though. They were cashing in, and also they were prisoners of the
forcing him.
moment with Kawhi
He
literally
Just
forced
because
them into
uplifting
getting
Toronto within a moment.
only coming in if you get only coming in if you get Paul
yeah.
George. I'm not
He
coming if you
basically
don't get
forced them
that.
to
That's
get
how
Paul
the
George.
situation.
Yeah,
It's
so
always a gamble
it's
when
not
you
really
go
the Clippers. It's
Me,
really
Central
if I
versus
was the
well, it's
Clippers at
really
that
the
time,
Clippers for saying that.
I wouldn't have went through with that deal altogether. That's just me because I understand. Like as a person that just knows, like literally, Kawhi sat out almost a whole year for San Antonio just to get traded to Toronto, right? And when he finally did play, they ended up winning chip, which you're like,
Hmm.
okay, cool. But then you have to think, why did he sit out a whole year or two? It's not because he didn't want to play for San Antonio. That ended up being a tail end excuse, but he was injured. He was injured majority of the time. And he happened, and I would like to say Kawhi Leonard was lucky and blessed because he kind of fell into a generation of wealth when he got drafted to the Spurs. Because when he got there, Tim, Ginobili, and Tony was still there, balling out.
No, he was
Yeah, he got drafted by
they
the
traded
Pacers,
for him. They
but
traded
he
George
got
Hill. Yeah, so it was
but he got
almost got back
traded
for
during on
whatever
draft
he got
night. That's
got.
why I
Yeah.
say kind of drafted though. So that's what I say. He took on
Yeah, I keep.
foundational wealth of the Spurs because it's like, yo, you have these three. I'm not gonna say goats, but three great. Like they're the best. They're on the Mount Rushmore of the Spurs. They're on that Mount Rushmore. So it's like when you happen to
Hmm.
come into a
Mm.
team like that, is you cannot fail. It's hard to fail with that.
It's hard. It's hard to fuck that up.
So it's like, and then
It's
you
hard to
have
fuck that up.
probably one of the greatest coaches of all time as your coach. Like you have like his his resume and his skills and everything had literally got amplified because he was on the Spurs. So it's like your status increased because you're on the Spurs, and it's like, okay, he's a superstar. Then he gets sent to Toronto. This is his team, which technically was not his team because he wasn't the leader. He was the leading scorer, but that was
At
Kyle
all.
Lowry's team as a leader. So it's like,
It was
yeah.
all
So
about
that,
AD to
and
the
then the
Warriors,
Warriors, you got to
low
think.
key.
I'm not gonna put an asterisk next to the Raptors because this is the playoffs. Everybody gets hurt. Everybody gets hurt. But I'm saying, like, damn,
No,
the
no,
Warriors
no, no,
had
no.
caught the
Yeah.
bad luck of it all because they finally got what their opponents used to get, where it was always bad timing injuries. And guess what? The Raptors capitalized on it. They won a chip. With that being said, he wanted to get out of Toronto and he wanted to go home, but he didn't want to go to the Lakers and play with LeBron. And he wanted his own team. You get your own. Guess what? The Clippers like, oh man, we love Kawhi, but you're about to give up your whole future just to get Kawhi.
No, this was a stipulation. If the Clippers didn't say no, we not getting Paul George,
Yeah,
he
and
was going to go to the Lakers.
they was gonna end up forcing him to
That's
the
why
Lakers.
Brandon Boy was hurt.
And that's
That's
the
why they
thing.
were like,
Clippers are kind of like that
because they
little
were like,
brother who
damn,
don't want the big brother to win. So they're like, oh, we'll do anything to get Kawhi. We'll do anything. Just so Kawhi doesn't go to the Lakers. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't like it either. It's like he picked up two small forwards. Because maybe early on in his career,
yeah,
when they still had like Danny Granger and like Roy Hibbert, when he was with the Pacers, you could be like, oh, Paul George is a shooting guard. But as he got
he's
to
more
like
of a small
OKC
forward
and
kind of
stuff,
guy.
it was like, okay, he's more of a small forward. Yeah, so it's like, Kawhi's not no power. And Kawhi ain't no shooting guard. Kawhi is strictly a small forward. Always has
you
been.
got two of them.
So, especially in a strict Spurs system where you play your position. Like, you didn't see Tim Duncan be
I
like,
was
I'm
say
also a
he
center.
only plays
That was
center at
very
certain
rare.
times when they
That was
really have
only
to
in
have him
dire need.
Yeah.
Because he came in with a David Robinson. He also, they had, what's the dude's name that don't play anymore? That tried to play with the Nets for like half a season. Aldridge. Yeah, well, that was later, but either way, Splitter and all the other dudes back then. So yeah, it just wasn't from the jump. It wasn't going to work with the Clippers.
Oh well, when you're talking about
Yeah,
when Tim, like he had Dave Robinson, he also had Big Shot
yeah.
Bob there too. So it's like
Who?
Robert Horry.
I couldn't tell you who that is,
Robert Horry.
but okay,
They
that's
call
cool.
him Shot Bob because the man's he hits game.
I mean,
Okay, that sounds a little bit
I,
familiar.
ain't I want to ask y'all this genuinely. I got a problem with me putting Tim Duncan in the greatest in Mount Rushmore. I know you know.
Yeah, I was about to get to my Mount Rushmore's real quick. I'll go ahead and say mine. When I do a Mount Rushmore, I just do a starting five. My all-time starting five, my criteria, just so people don't call me crazy, is based off of people I've seen with my own two eyes, not just YouTube highlights, not just old stories. People I've seen with my own two eyes. Point guard, I'm starting Steph. Shooting guard, I'm starting Kobe. Small forward, LeBron. Power forward, Tim Duncan, and I'm putting Giannis at the center. I think he can handle it. And straight off the bench as my sixth man, Mr. Cornrows himself, AI.
Yeah.
That's my starting 5 plus 6.
Though, you ain't got.
Russ was so close to being that. Russ was so close to being that until at post his MVP year. After that, things just he used to really be on there. But that would be my second team and all that. But we don't need to get into that. But that's my 6 right there.
I would say mine.
Yeah, I rock with like.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You had a reaction. Go ahead.
All the things.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. The only reason AI isn't starting because I saw the end of his career, and it was a little bit more decent. And with Shaq, I saw the end of his career, and it wasn't that decent at all.
I mean, he
so
had a few good years in Denver. They just was toxic.
And that exactly, that's what I'm saying. I remember seeing those as a kid, but I don't remember seeing a lot of good Shaq years because like I didn't really start. Yeah, I know. I was saying that's why I put AI there because he had a few solid years that I was visibly able to see with my own two eyes. But Shaq, I wasn't visibly able to see those with my own two eyes because I don't think I was fully watching all of basketball yet.
Shaq in his late years.
Once he left the Suns,
like in the
Cavaliers,
when he was in Celtics, it was like, okay, come on.
I want to say, did he go to Suns?
The Suns, yeah. I remember seeing the Suns, but it wasn't enough for me to put it over. It's not enough to put over Giannis. it's not enough for me to put him over Giannis that I've seen. I've seen Giannis great the entire time I've been able to watch him. So
I feel that.
that's my
I
starting
would
five
say
with
my
the six
Mount
man.
Rushmore because
Whoever
we can
wants to
say
go.
I would say starting five, but I go Mount Rushmore because top 4 players for me, like because I'm a huge basketball fan, so I've watched like I'm talking about alive and watched clips and everything. I actually went back and watched NBA TV games, so I'm like my top 4 would be Jordan. Jordan's up there. LeBron, Steph, Kobe is my 4 heads right there. And I would say my 5th would be Wilt Chamberlain,
Ooh.
actually.
Okay.
And the only reason I think
Ooh,
the
yeah, yeah.
only reason I say Wilt Chamberlain's not in a lot of people's conversation is because he happens to be around a time where it was literally just him and Bill Russell only as the Giants there. But Bill team was way better skill wise than Wilt's team. So Wilt will be putting up 100 points or whatever, but Bill will be putting up 60, but all his other teammates are really putting up 20 and 10 and all the stuff. So it's kind of like that's why majority of the time you see Bill got 11 rings, but I think Wilt only has like 2 or 3 out of the whole time. Because literally Bill was the guy and his team was actually good.
Yeah.
It was a team game for them. So
Mm. If I had to take off one
yeah,
for it
that's
to
what I
just
say.
be a Mount Rushmore,
But
I'd
that's
just
my
take off
top
Giannis.
4, just because they just
So
all 4 of them changed the game, or they all made a big part.
all right. So Rouse and Cooley, give it to us, and then we gonna hop into the playoff predictions. So I think we pretty much covered the GOAT debate and everyone's criteria,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much,
Yeah,
pretty much.
I gotta
Like,
go
All
Michael
right.
Jordan, Kobe, Steph, LeBron, and my 5th. I wanna give it
Michael
to
Jordan,
Wade.
Kobe, Steph, LeBron. Okay.
But I'm gonna give it to AI
Oh,
though,
okay.
because it's just he impacted the game as well, and he took just a dismal 76er team to the finals, and I just
Huge
felt
impact
like
with the
that don't
culture.
get talked.
He the coach of the NBA. He was a huge impact.
Mm-hmm. He made Colin
Hey now,
Kaepernick get cornrows.
hey bro,
He
you
made
mess
Colin
around, we
Kaepernick
about to be
realize he was
stuck to
black.
one side of the world now. You mess around, the white they ain't gonna Colin Kaepernick. Oh, they're too political. Uh
yeah,
oh.
man. Hey.
Hey, you know what it is when you come over here.
Mm, mm.
Says the guy on the first pod.
When I introduce myself as when I introduce myself when I introduce myself as Jamel
Says
Kijana,
says
you
the
come
the
on now.
same
You
guy
know what it's
on the
about to sound
first
like.
pod. Man, I ain't trying to go too political because we just started. I ain't trying to get canceled.
Woo!
Hey,
That is
yo.
very valid. That is very valid. It slips out. It comes out because you know what it was. You said you wanted to talk about Angel Reese, and once you get that, I'm like, ooh,
Hey, I like
that got me
Got him
excited.
inspired.
That got me
injuries.
Got him
talking.
inspired.
That had me talking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we were talking about the Angel Reese
Situation.
situation a few
It's
weeks
only a
ago with the
situation of
Iowa and
certainty.
everything, and oh yeah, well, it is a situation because we had to speak on how the atrocities of it,
The media
because it
lynching
is a
of
situation
injuries.
that happens a lot in America. Whether it just be, yeah, they're even doing that
Oh,
now
I
with the
saw it.
swimsuit thing, and that's
Yeah,
horrible.
rock your body, girl. Rock
Yeah.
your motherfucking
Hey,
body.
let's cancel
Live
this
your
one.
life.
Cancel him.
All right, all right. I'm not even gonna say.
Yeah, cancel
I'm not even
Kenna.
gonna say what
No,
Kenna
no,
sound
no.
like because. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Give
You
us
know,
the
like,
Mount Rushmore so we can
like,
move on.
even as men, like, we can't be sitting here like, bro, we can't control anything for that's their life. Like, you're
Cancel
beautiful, you
Kenna.
know it. Rock that shit, bro. Fuck what a nigga
Hashtag
gotta say, but what
start
fuck what
that
I
up.
gotta say? Anything, bro. She's her, bro. She got that, bro. She's like that. When you like that, you can do that.
Hashtag cancel.
Shout out Flaw J, foes up.
She about to get canceled too.
Yes, sir.
Bro,
Shout out to her. She be spitting, boy. Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't like how they did the 9/11 thing. See, I don't like to, I'll get political if it comes in the conversation, but I didn't want to make it a political podcast. But I'm gonna talk my politics. I'm gonna talk my stuff. I'm blackity black black.
mm,
You know what I'm saying?
true.
So if needed be, I'll get political, but I ain't coming in with the politics like, yo, we
The
need to talk
system.
about
We
the
don't want to
man.
work for the
Nah.
man, right, Cooley?
But yeah, they really the system.
Wow, throw me under the bus. Okay, Playboy Troy. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I'm just saying we don't want to
Ain't
put
no,
him under the bus.
I ain't Dion.
The man brings us down.
I haven't been
God
talking. I
damn,
have
Playboy.
not been talking no type of rhetoric like that of late. I don't know why you trying to keep dragging me, holding me, nailing me to the cross
Frank,
on these
that man Frank,
opinions that have to be
that man Frank started his whole
have to
sentence
be
with a
married to these.
disclaimer. He said, "I don't know how to."
I don't know what this man talking about. Why he attacking?
Yeah, Najee, you better chill out. You got to report to him at 600 hours.
Troy,
You
he
better
just
stop talking about
took
that.
it there.
Go ahead, Kenna, give us the Mount Rushmore.
Oh my god. Oh shit, man.
Hmm.
Oh god. Okay. Now my Rushmore and my favorite teams will be a little different because I ain't gonna hold. We talking about Will Chamberlain. I have a different. You talk records, but you can't talk records till you exit him out of the conversation, and that's the spirit to a real one. But we going about Rushmore is going no particular order. Putting the faces up there, the Bron, MJ, Tim, and Magic, man. That's just for me. Because that's greatness when I think about the games when like, me especially coming up and what I love. I used to love watching those guys trying to emulate to it. Like coming up. I don't know, bro. I ain't the tallest nigga. I ain't the biggest nigga. I ain't the fastest nigga. But like a lot of these games, I took and looked.
You
This
just
man
big.
said that sitting at six
Hard.
foot
You're
three.
the
Boy, shut up.
biggest
This man
person
talking
on
about
the
I'm the
pod.
fastest.
Bro, you know, act like he the
Bro,
skinniest, tallest dude there,
This man said I ain't
skinniest,
the
shortest
fat.
dude
What,
there is.
Frank?
Bro, you like 6'3" with a
no,
size 18 shoe. What are you
no,
talking about?
hey,
I ain't the
hey,
biggest.
Facts. This
I
man
ain't the
ain't it. The man has
tallest.
custom shoes.
I
Talking about
ain't
some,
the
I
that's
ain't
the
the
most
really
biggest.
skilled.
I thought the I thought the really
You are the
oh,
biggest, and you are the.
when I got to college, I didn't realize it was 6'8", 240 and 6'8", 240. And I was like, damn, that shit crushed.
Boy,
Kenneth, you
Kenneth,
acting
I feel
like me.
bad.
You
Boy,
acting like
Kenneth,
me and Frank didn't play
boy,
basketball. Ain't that
Kenneth,
many
I feel
people that
bad
was
for
taller
anybody
than
messing
you
with you. They think
on
you
the majority of
got
the teams
small
that we
man
played in?
syndrome.
And then that was the problem. That nigga then was like, oh yeah, you got him. That nigga 6'9" and he played goddamn offensive lineman. What am I
Be a
supposed to
man,
do?
Kenneth.
What?
Kenneth.
Step up.
Kenneth, I'm shorter than Kenneth. I was shorter than you. I had to play against
Hey,
6'6",
hey,
6'8" players in
Oh,
high
I
school.
crazy.
Stop it.
Literally, you and Frank played the same position. Yeah.
He's got short man syndrome. He's got a short man mentality. Can't be moving like that.
AD,
I'm still gonna play hard, but nigga know hey, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, hey, this man bigger, let me attack this man. Let me pull his bitch ass. Nigga, come outside with me.
Well, then
Come
cancel
outside with
that.
me.
All
I'm not
right,
the
all
biggest.
right,
Man,
I'm
all
not
I
the
right.
ain't about to,
smallest. I'm
you
not
got
the fastest. The strongest. What the?
to, why I leave.
Yes.
This man is
He's a
this
dickhead.
man is humbly cocky. I don't
Hey
get it.
man,
Which one? Which one is it?
it just works, man. It just works. When I get juicy,
Oh,
what?
okay. Moving right along. Moving. Okay, so we got. Oh, you not done?
You did.
You just did. Oh, your team. Oh, so you're just
Yeah,
adding
yeah.
one. So go ahead. Add your.
Shit, we just that we're gonna put Will in. We're gonna put Will in, bro. We're gonna put in Will.
You did all that just to put Wilt in there.
All right. All right. Cool. So
my boy 4K Trey Ja, don't play with
Wow.
him. He's really got the blicky. He's really out here in these streets. He's really 10 toes on the court and off the court. It's not
see
a
this,
game. You think
No,
no.
no, bro. Let me go, man.
This man is endorsing it.
Yeah, Cooley be out.
Hey,
This is
Yeah,
what's gonna
Cooley
keep
with
him
the
doing
Toolie,
it. He gonna be
baby.
like, yeah. He
Cooley
gonna be
with the
like, yeah,
Toolie.
Cooley. You know what the fuck going on?
Yeah,
all
Cooley
right.
with the Toolie.
You trying to let that young boy get ready for the studio
Big
Oh,
Cooley with
God.
the Toolie,
I'm sitting there
Franco
like, all
with
right,
the
where's he going
Draco.
with it? And I'm like, all right. He
Yeah,
said
Franco
full
with the
track.
Draco. We like them, right? Cooley, we like the falling of the black community,
Oh,
right?
good.
Cooley with the
like,
Toolie.
Nah, but
We
honestly,
like
I just want to
that.
bring some more energy in the podcast. But um, this
Oh
is
no, you
this is
good.
just
Oh,
4K
gosh.
Trey Ja or Ja Morant, as some people might call him. This is just a reflection of what a culture is and where we're at as far as like the diaspora of entertainment, the music, sports. Because it used to be a time where rappers wanted to be ball players, but now you got the ball players want to be the rappers. And who's the biggest rapper in the mainstream as it stands now? NBA YoungBoy. We have seen him time and time again with the giddy, the reciting of the lyrics, just the off the court antics, the colored hair. Like he's he's as much a part of the um the youth as we're trying to pedestalize him and put him, oh, you're a professional, so start acting like one. Now we got to kind of peel it back and be like, nah, where is this coming from? This behavior has an origin. Um, when you plant seeds, they grow, right? What seeds have been planted? And I just want to say, when you get money, it don't change your character. It don't change the person you are. Whoever you was or you're trying to portray, it's gonna amplify that. So he had when Ja Morant, not a street dude, but he listened to the music. He idolizes this self-destructive, counterproductive lifestyle that is just glamorized and glorified all on social media. Um, even like a lot of the women, like they self-proclaim gangsters. Like it just what's going on right now, and it's evident in the his behavior and what he's continuously showing you. You know, money don't money gives you the opportunity to be the character you always wanted if you don't have that right mindset. You don't have that growth mindset, that open mindset to, well, okay, I got an opportunity. Let me make the most out of my opportunity. No, I got an opportunity. Well, now I could do what I always wanted to do anyway. It's like that's where we're at, and that's what's going on.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel that. I think it's crazy how they're putting him under a lot. Like, of course, he's making mistakes, but I think that like they are really. It's weird because it's like these are the same people that also marketed off of that behavior anyway, and it's just weird to me that all my life I've always found it weird how people that play a childhood game like want you to be a professional. I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks that sports is becoming more, they have more rules than government jobs sometimes. It's like the expectations and the demands, and a lot of people will answer that or try to fight that back with, well, because they make this amount of money. I think it's more to just show how the domination of the athlete, in a sense of you better do what we say if you want to stay here, to the point where I think that like we need to like have our own league in a way to where you're more free to kind of just be you in a sense, and not when it comes to like amplifying street life but just in general, because it feels like some athletes are silenced anyway, or if they do have a voice, it's a voice that they want to peddle anyway, like a PR voice where it's like, we want you to talk about this though. You know what I'm saying? So I think it also ties into that because it's just weird to me though. It opens up my eyes to it. I know it's different because Josh showing a gun and he's amplifying a street life, but it's the type of life that a lot of these teams, they play those songs in the stadium anyway. You know what I'm saying? They play those songs on the commercials. Like they do the same type of stuff anyway. They allow his antics anyway. They allowed him back on the team. They put him in rehab as a PR stunt. When in reality, if they really cared, they would have made him go during the off season or made him go for a more extended length of time. But it's all, to me, it's just all weird because it's like it's not handled right. So that's just me though. I know I'm a little bit all over the place with my opinion, but it's just really tough. I could go on and on about the atrocities on both sides and how this situation ties into just how the NBA's quote unquote image is perceived, and just professional sports in general is perceived as professional.
I mean, like with any job, bro. Once you start going, once you start going, once your hobby becomes something that puts food on the table, that's when it's starts saying you're a professional. Your hobby is no longer really. When you're doing this free time, it is. But when you have opposition saying like, oh, you gotta come to the games or you gotta go to the meetings, you gotta go to the meetings, that's being professional. That's having your responsibility.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course you got to show up. I'm not talking about showing up and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about who the people are as a person.
yeah, yeah, I'm not with the personal attacks with certain. Well, a lot of shit maybe like, damn, but there's like asking like Bruce Holzer about his situation and shit. That's not about. There's no one should ever think to ask a nigga that like for real or anyone. Isaiah Thomas when his sister died, like when he was on the Celtics, like the fact that
Exactly. You don't get that at a nine to
you know,
five. You like remember I told you I said imagine if you finished your work and then that's when as soon as you're done with work they're asking you a bunch of questions about everything before you can even calm down and take off your uniform before you can even calm down take off your tie. You're asked a billion questions about your workday. That's why I'm saying it's like the sports
I
and the
think
sports world has
the
more
military
to
and
it than certain
professional
regular
sports
jobs. You
like
know what I'm
are
saying?
one of the two
So
like professions where even when you take off the uniform or you take off the jersey, you're still held to a standard to where everything you do is under a microscope. You represent something.
yeah. And it's easy, but it's easier though because not everybody in the military is known. You know what I'm saying? You can go to the store and no one's gonna know
I,
that you
I
were in the
was
military
I'm
unless
saying
you
as far
wear
as like in the
something in
context of
regards
being
to it.
stationed
But
overseas because it's only so
athlete
many like it's so
can't
many
it can't
Americans.
be the same.
So well like you're an ambassador of the United versus
Oh
you're
yeah
a
yeah 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 yeah
professional
yeah.
representing a league.
Hmm.
So you have an image to uphold internationally, also nationally. So, but as you like you're saying, like if we were like in the states, it's less of that because you're in the states. So I was just making that comparison, like international being stationed overseas versus in a league, a
Hmm.
professional league. Like you're held under a microscope, no matter where you at, if you're on the job or off the job.
yeah, yeah. It, it's like what they said, the scarlet letter. Like no matter what you do once you're in there, that's what we know you for. You're in here. That's what you're known for. You know what I'm saying? Some goddamn, you see a little terrier in the damn commercial, oh, that's terrier. You know what I'm saying? It ain't saying like reference him, but that you know him from that moment. So to you, that's how you recognize. So when you see like a professional athlete or star, celebrity, anybody, it's like you're not you're you, but you're not no longer just you because now you have to worry about your image, your PR, because your face and your likeliness and your well being of being who you are, that's what's bringing the money in. That's what's marketable. It's marketable to make Steph Curry do a jump shot for a Sprite commercial. You know what I'm saying? It's marketable to have John Morant do a dunk, drink Powerade. You know what I mean? That's the oh, he do it in the game, that was a commercial that get branded out. Kids label, they gonna fuck with him. Got the new shoes coming out. You know what I'm saying? That's how that all gets tied in together. And it's a lot of pressure to put onto a young, like, especially being 20, what, he's 23, 24. You know what I'm saying? He's still young as hell.
Hmm.
And that's a lot of money, responsibility, fame, and notoriety to put at someone's foot. Which is why, like, I feel like a lot of times when, especially these young players get drafted in any league, they should have courses or people that are here to give them information to help them set themselves up for success rather than, oh, wait till they start getting big and now they got deals coming out and now it's just up to their personality and them as an individual to put it all together to make it look how they want it to look. When you know what I mean? Especially when you don't know the monster that you're really dealing with. It's unfair to you. The authority is there already, so when you're professional, you would think you would have that kind of assistance to make sure that you're set. But you really don't see that. Especially when we haven't seen it to this degree like this publicly, like that. But like Eddie Curry, when he said he was like broke off of the divorces and shit like that, he was like, damn, like my contract was gone. You know what I'm saying? Like Money Mansion was gone. He didn't have that back in the day. And so we had this more availability, but are you really pushing that to educate? You know what I mean? Because be real, a lot of us get into the league. So it's like we don't know what to do with that. Like you tell me I got a $13 million contract with Nike. I don't know how I come. I wouldn't even know how it come in, when it come in. If they tell me all walk son, I'm like, working in it. We good. We good here. I'm buying everything. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's what you're thinking when you're young. You're thinking the money gonna come forever. The fame gonna be there. Everyone loves you. But that's how much they love you. It can quickly turn around when they just be like, damn, they don't even see that coming. And it's unfortunate, but when your face is public, that's what comes with that. You know, it's not like with football where you can just be a player.
And
Not that way.
and well, no, I think it's all sports. You know, I just think that I feel like we shouldn't hold them to that because they're regular human beings. So it's like, yeah, they
Yeah.
play this sport that everybody watches and loves, and yeah, they make millions of dollars, but they're humans, and I think that I don't think we have to hold them to that. I feel like it doesn't have to
So
be that
I'm
way.
about to say,
It
so
shouldn't be
this
that
is
way.
so my take on it is right. Okay, Ja Morant's a
Mm-hmm.
basketball player. Everyone he's on camera, everyone knows this, right? So
Hmm.
when I hate that people keep bringing up the fact that he's 23, right? He knew what he was getting into when he signed up. Because I actually like that Frank compared it to the military because it's literally just like the military. It's just like when I joined, right? I joined kind of young, and no one told me how it works and all the stuff, what to do. I just end up learning. But one of the first things that they kind of tell you is when you mess up, like if you mess up, the headlines doesn't say Nigel Williams or whatever messed up. Like it doesn't say none of that, right? It says coach.
It says what you
It
are.
doesn't
It's
just
okay, I
say
got you.
me. It says a whole entire brand. So that's kind of how it comes off for Ja Morant is that Ja Morant is a part of the NBA. So now it's kind of like the same situation with Allen Iverson when he first started showing up to the games with his hair braided and he's showing up with baggy clothes and all this stuff like that. The image was the NBA supports like being a thug and all that stuff or street life. That's how it came off, and that was the image that was portrayed for them. And it's the same thing for right now. Ja Morant is in that predicament where he's a part of the NBA and he's up there shooting threes, but after he shoots a three, he's throwing up gang signs that of a
At the
gang
game,
that he's not a part of and that he's never been a part of in a life that he's never been a part of. So it's like and it's an actual game
To
to
our
our knowledge.
acknowledgement. To our knowledge.
No,
We don't truly know. It's
even
not like the
even
man's
the
gonna out here and
the
announce
trips
it.
of people that were a part of the gang that have done interviews are like, he's not with us. He's never been.
Okay,
He's never
okay.
been.
I didn't
That's
know.
what they was like,
I didn't
yo.
know. Okay,
When
now I know that.
they was like, yo, if you want to hang out with us during the off season, you can, and you can see how we actually live, and you can see how it is doing it, and you'll see that you don't want to be doing that. And that's what, in my mind, that's what Ja Morant need to do. He need to go on a scared straight program
and
like
it's
that.
like
Where
you're
since he want
Scare
to throw
straight,
gang
yeah.
signs, go ahead, go live the gang life. You want to be folk? You want to be 4K? Go ahead, be 4K. Go ahead, cause you go out there and you gonna learn. The money don't mean nothing when guess what? The money can't protect you from a bullet, cause you want to play with the
you
gang. So that's how that
yeah.
works. So hey, that's
Bro,
that's just
Yeah.
how it is, and that's his job. When you join an organization like that, you're not just representing yourself anymore. It's okay to do that when you working at McDonald's or Burger King because you're just another number. But when you've been placed on a pedestal,
Well, you're technically just another number
yeah,
on the
but you're on a
on.
higher
You have a number
you're
on
on a
your
higher
jersey.
scale, media scale.
I don't. That's the thing with me though. I don't think it should be. I feel like yes, the military, like
Yeah,
how you said, compared it to that, that's an important job. And to me, sports and athletics shouldn't be that important
because
where
it's
we
on
hold them
camera.
to that
It's
high
on
of a
TV.
standard.
You see commercials. You see it all
Ah,
over. It's everywhere. You see it. That's like you don't
it,
see
yeah,
you
but
don't
uh,
you don't.
okay, hold on. Let me get there. 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 But I'm saying we should teach people like, yeah, this is on TV. The same way we'll watch a TV show and say, hey, that's just a character he plays. We should say the same when we're like, that's just
Well,
an
that's
athlete.
well that's how like
That's what I'm getting at. It's
when
like
the,
it's entertainment. So it's like,
when the actor messes up when an actor
why do
messes
we
up, their show
say
end up getting canceled.
No, but I'm just saying in a sense of like we know how to separate the person from the character. Why can't we do the same with
because
athletes to where it's like we know this is
they're
just who
because
they're
that's not
playing as?
it's not an act
That's just
though.
my opinion. I just don't think that we should. Mm, it's a
But it's
form
not
of
an act
entertainment.
though. It's a person, yes, but he's on camera being himself.
This is actual life he's putting on
It's
And
for
yeah.
also,
his
like
sport.
when you see
And
him
he's
on
gonna get out
camera
there and
with the
get hurt
gun and he
damage
waving the
people.
gun, it's like Will Squid dude.
I'll say in the
It,
video,
it
he
it's
literally is
he's
sitting there
having
playing,
fun.
listening
Will
to
Squid is
music,
not
rapping to
fun.
the music, throwing
People
up the gun, and playing with the gun.
people
Yeah. I don't agree with that. That's nothing I agree with. I don't think he should be doing that. I'm talking from an overall scheme of how people view athletes and this whole image thing. I feel like to me, sports isn't that important to the point where, like how you said, if you do that at McDonald's, cool, that's whatever. But to me, sports shouldn't be that important to where you're held to a higher standard
hold
just because it's on TV. We should teach people that, hey, just because it's on
It's
TV does
held to a
not
high
mean they
standard
should be
because
held to
he
a
is a
higher
role model
standard.
to certain people.
And it's an Olympic sport. We're supposed to,
And that's my problem right there. They don't need to be. They're
But you have
athletes.
to
They're not
understand, there are
community
kids
leaders.
that are in predicaments where their only way out is basketball. Their only way out is football. So they're going to look up to these people as this is their only way out. So that's why some of them have Ja Morant as their role model or have this person as their role model because that's their only way to have. Just like people in the
if
military.
someone
Guess what?
had them,
And that's why we got to do. And that's why we have to do better to be better role models to the point where they don't have to look up to people they don't
but
know. They can look up to the
Well,
people in their community.
well,
So we got
but
to be better.
yes and
As
no.
we
But
have to
guess
be
what?
better for
It's
the next
everybody
generation
don't want to
because
be
we're the ones.
because your dad's a blue collar work, not just metaphorically saying, or just example. That's because your
Yeah, I got
dad
you.
is
I
a
know.
blue worker
Hmm.
collar guy who works at the steel mill all the time. You don't want to be like as a kid in your mind, like man, dad goes to work 8 to 5 every single day, or 8 to 9 every single day, and he comes back dirty all day. I want to be just like him. A lot of kids ain't like that. A lot of kids don't like. They look at him. Okay, I want to work hard like my dad, but I don't want to be like him. I wanted a job where I could get paid more and I could do more. And that's why and basketball ends up like Kendall said, it turns
And
from a
that all
hobby
just
to a
stems
job.
from. Oh my bad.
Cause that's how basketball
And
a basketball player starts from the love of basketball and then it ends up getting to the NBA and that's when it becomes a job.
I just think that stems from teaching our kids to want to like not just be in sports and just say like yes you can do better, you can work hard, but do something that's more efficient to the community instead of just entertainment being entertainment for how many years less than I don't know the average. I know the average NFL is like less than 5. I don't know NBA, but it's very low. A job that's not gonna, yeah, that money's gonna last you. Not even about money, it's about working and what you bring value to a
Well,
community.
that's
You know
and
what I'm
that's
saying?
off the
So
court stuff.
that I feel like it
But
starts
that's
with
off
just
the court
teaching the
stuff too.
community. I feel like it start.
That that's the
But that's all about image. The image is all about your
that's
off
the
the court.
problem
That's
that
what
we
we're
have with
talking
John
about.
Morant though. Because John Morant, it's not the off the court stuff that he's doing. It's not
Oh
the
yeah,
great
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that he's
Like I
doing.
said, Ja Morant. I'm really just
Yes.
speaking on the image
It's like
itself of the NBA and
I want to say his
yeah,
name was Darvin Ham. Ain't that the guy from Buffalo that had pass? No, sorry,
Darvin Ham.
Darvin Ham
Yes,
is the
yes,
guy
yes, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the coach of the Lakers. But his last
like,
name, I can't remember the guy's name. DeMar Hamlin.
Demar
That's it.
Hamlin. Demar Hamlin. Close, very
DeMar
close.
Hamlin.
Now that you say it
He
like that,
has
that
a
is
great
very close. Yeah.
off the field track. Like he's very good in the community. That's someone you could look up to.
Hmm.
Like, yes, you don't want your kid to be playing football, and get hit and all that stuff. But he uses his image as a good role model. You know, like he's
as a
good.
platform that gives affect those lives and that's looking towards him and say,
Yeah,
hey, like think about what was that Point Foundation where he was doing before that? Internet,
Hmm.
you know, he genuinely did it because he
Hmm.
cared for the community. And even if no one was really happy with it, he still was going out there to the mall
yeah.
shit.
It's it's all about like you said the image. But when you don't put the effort into that image, this is when like conversations we have like this. Like we John Morant, yes. Does he do community service work? Yes. Does he do some things that's helpful for the community? Yes. But it's hard when you do think like this problem wouldn't really be a big deal if the NBA didn't already warn him one time. Like it wouldn't be such a big deal if they NBA warned him one time and he hasn't done it again. He did it. They warned him one time, and it's literally been what 2 months, and he's done it again. So it's like,
He's not even playing.
and he's not even playing.
And
So
what you're
that's what
going
makes it
for,
even worse because it's like, yo,
what he's portraying, or what
didn't we already tell you
he's
about
doing off
this?
the court, like real people that's from that really is from that, they'll tell you like, bro, that's not what you want to do, bro. Like you don't want to post that. You don't that and I'm a hold on, let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think
What he's
oh my
doing,
bad. Yeah,
being
you
in
good.
that
Yeah, you got him. I
position,
stopped
that I
myself as
think
soon
it
as I
speaks
spoke.
a
I was like,
lot
look,
to
hold on.
who's around him.
Go ahead.
You once you get to a certain level in life and you got the money, you got resources, now you need guidance, you need direction. And that's something that he's severely lacking. If there's nobody around him that can put him to the side, like, hey, bro, like you got M's on the table, you got opportunity, like you done change your whole you changing your whole family legacy. Like what you doing, bro? Like just sit down, relax. Like you ain't got nobody around for them to pull you to the side and get in your ear and put that bug in your ear, or you
I
just not listening. It's like you're going down the path.
it's the latter. It's the latter. He's not listening because for all these people on social media to be doing this, I mean, not like this as in like what he's doing. What you just said. What you said has been repeated 100 million, thousands of times on social media, on TV, everywhere. So of course, some of the people around him have said that have pulled him to the side. You think every game that he's gone to since the suspension, there's probably been one person in the building that tries to pull him to the side. Hey man, you better, there's always an uncle that's going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So there, he has that. It's just a matter of what is he going to do
yeah,
it? He has to do it for himself. At the end of the day, he's
if
just like he has to choose to do that for
we don't need
himself and stop that
that
for
prime
himself.
example of that, Jamel. We don't have to pull up the clip for if whomever listen to the podcast, want to check it out.
No, no,
If you
yeah, bro, we've been talking. Hold on, before you say that, we've been talking for 3 hours about basketball. Anybody who's stuck this long has most likely been a fan of the NBA to watch the clip themselves at this point. So we
okay,
don't need to pull it up. And I just don't want to pull that up because I don't want to rent a picture of a gun on here. We good. We could just talk about
but
it.
I always bring it towards the end. If you see as soon as it showed in the clip, he had a real homie because that man tried to put the phone away so fast.
That's like I'm about to say that was in
Yeah,
that
but
clip.
they were also driving, so we don't know the full context of what was
No,
really going on in the clip too.
No,
We could say
no,
like he was like, oh, he was putting it
yeah,
away to be better, or maybe he was putting it away
wait,
for
who the
any
friend?
other reason. We don't know the true reason why he put the phone
No,
away.
no. I'm about to
We
say
can
if
only
you look at that
assume why the
clip,
friend put the
it
phone
was
away.
literally like they're in the car chilling, and he puts the camera on him on Ja. He puts the camera on him one time, and Ja's like singing and all this stuff. Then he puts his phone back on him, and it's like he's chilling, and like they're chilling and all something. And he turns the camera back at Ja, and I know it. Ja just pulls a gun up, and he's like, "Oh shit, hold up." That's really how,
there's
and
you can see the
Yeah,
shock
so
on
yeah, it
that's
could
how this
just
you can
be an
see
video
the
instant
shock
goes.
on his
reaction.
face.
It could just be an instant reaction. We don't know
Like he cuts the
we
camera off
don't
quick.
know why the dude put the phone away. Maybe he just cut the
I don't
camera off
want
because
my
he was like,
phone to
"Oh, it's a
get
gun. Hold
But
on,
but
I don't want
but
my phone to get
No,
shot,"
nigga.
or just something crazy. Or
No.
he just innately did it. We
he,
The
can't
only the
assume.
only
We can't
assumption that
assume.
you
I'm just
can't
saying we
assume
can't
in this
assume.
video was when was the video. That's the only assumption because
yeah.
they're saying,
That is
but
also very
the
true
crazy
too. We
part
don't
is
know when
though
that is
it was an
very true.
Instagram live. So that's
Oh, it
why
was
it's like
Instagram Live.
okay,
Okay,
it's a
okay,
possibility
yeah,
that that
yeah,
was literally recent. But then again, you don't know how long this person's been
yeah,
waiting on this video, holding on that video either. So
The
that's where it's at.
yeah. Yeah, so that's a huge thing too. So that's the worst part about social media and this camera stuff is that, oh, excuse me, things can be manipulated and spewed in so many different ways. And
Yes, you are.
I'm a huge conspiracy theorist. I am. I really am. I'm a conspiracy theorist and deep down inside. Not too heavily, but especially when it comes to sports, athletics, the
The
higher
game.
ups, those types of things. So who's to say this wasn't just released out by somebody who
No, the funny part is the
ain't
person who
like it?
released it.
So
it would have been
The
funny
per
to
the person. The person
Right,
who
right. It
tweeted
could
it
all be
out,
AI. It could all be AI.
yo, no. This is the funny part though. The person who tweeted it out tagged everybody. This man, the person who tweeted it out tagged Woj, ESPN, NBA. Literally, he tagged
Wow,
everybody.
for real. That's the worst part about it too.
My
It's like we
my
got
man straight
everybody
up
trying to
snitched.
clout chase and
Bad.
it snitched out and it's all AI.
That's what you
It's
want to put it
AI.
on.
Damn.
That's how you want to put it.
Damn.
Okay.
Damn.
Cause he was like, "Hey, Woj, hey NBA, look at this." I'm
Oh,
like,
shit.
"Damn, nigga, you shit."
I
If Ja was
thought
a
it was,
gang member, my man's in trouble.
bruh. That's the
Facts. For real, for real, for real, for real.
thing. So my thing is like, man, wow. Like if you're that need of your safety, bro, I feel like the NBA should just automatically be like, nigga, they got the funds, they got the money, they got the brand. You know your players need the security. Why not provide it for them so they ain't gotta do it out their own
It
pocket?
was, and the
You
video
know
is
what I'm
during the broad daylight. So where you at? Where you
saying?
need a
Exactly. Well,
gun
what
broad
is
daylight? Where you going? Cause I saw
it?
smoke in that video
Man,
too.
that part. That
So
part. Let me
you
do
smoking?
Hey, we don't know what it is. Hey, bro,
Oh, okay, yeah.
his engine could be
the
burning.
Hey,
He could have a bad AC. He could have a bad AC. It
it
could
could have
be
been
a
a brand
cigar.
new
We don't know
All right,
what's in
brother,
there.
man. You
Hey, bro,
defend them to the house burn
we don't
sale.
know what's
I
in
feel
there.
you.
accessory.
I just like playing that. I just knew that everybody was going to be
I'm
on
not
one
on
side,
one
so I'm
side.
like,
I'm
yeah,
on
No,
the
let's
side
play a
that
little
like,
devil's
damn,
advocate.
nigga, how dumb can you be?
But he got the potential.
You said what?
When we talk about earlier about potential next face or next GOAT conversation, to me, I look at Josh to be like he could arguably be in that because of the kids that's gonna fuck other than that. You know,
Okay.
I really
I see. I remember this conversation years ago, and before all this happened, I already disagree. So I want to let that be known before people are like, "Oh, I just want to say I already didn't agree with it prior to the gun stuff. Like I don't think the gun thing is what ruined it. I don't think it was going to happen anyway because his style gave me Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook vibes, where he's going to have injuries, he's going to have high turnovers, he's going to just be driving to the paint. I get the gritty and stuff is flashy and fun and cool to watch, but when it comes to the face of the NBA, you need to win something. This is all about rings. It's all about accolades. When it comes to the face of the
Tracy
NBA,
McGrady
what
was
have
a
you
lot
won?
of our older favorite
No,
players did
no,
with.
no, 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 no,
You
no,
know
no,
what I'm
no, no, no.
saying?
Stop,
I ain't
stop,
saying
stop,
dog.
stop, 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 stop. He was not the
No,
face of the
bro,
NBA, Kenneth.
bro,
He was not
bro.
the face
Shit
of it.
did
When
not move without T-Mac saying so. That man was looking with 10 seconds and said, nah, we ain't want to take one
what?
picture, nigga. One picture, that's it. We gone. Like, T-Mac had that. No,
With his
bro.
team. That's the team,
No,
not the face of the league. What? What?
bro, niggas, he was, niggas used to
What?
talk about T-Mac with Kobe. And
T-Mac
niggas
was
would
a dog.
look at him and say, like, hey, bro, he's the Kobe over there in Houston. That's all it was. He was a dog.
But he wasn't the face of the NBA. I'm not going to sit here and say that he wasn't. He was amazing,
Bro,
but he was
he
never the
was
face of the
he was a
NBA, Kenneth.
to every fan that loved the league. When you say, damn, you watch the T-Mac game, you look to see him against Vince Carter. You look to see him against Ray Allen. Like, those are the type of shit, those matchups. He wasn't LeBron where it's like, oh, yeah, it's his league. But in terms of like, what game you watch, that's what
Okay,
he
then
did.
you just answered the question right now. It wasn't
Bro,
his
no,
league. He
he
was
wasn't,
great to watch,
he
but he
wasn't
wasn't
the
the
face. But
face.
when the fans said, hey, what's a marquee game? That's the league. Houston was up that bitch. And it wasn't just because of the
Yeah,
and
they
it
were
wasn't
great
because of
basketball to watch. Yeah, they were great basketball to watch, but he wasn't
your
the face though. And that's what it is with Ja. He's great to watch, but he's not the face. There's a huge difference between great to watch and being the face.
there's is a
Is it
difference
not?
between saying everybody his hero to being saying, hey, that's my favorite player. And you say, well, when you got you know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, answer my question. Is there a difference between the face of the NBA? Just yes or no only. Is there a difference between the face of the NBA and just a team you always want to
Yeah.
watch?
There's a clear difference because it's not the same, it's not
Okay
gonna be the
then.
same too. The player that you
All right, that's
want
what
to
I'm
be on
saying.
the same that's my favorite team. But it could be two of the same it could be two things could be true. Yeah, absolutely right. But it's not always the case. Like not always Steph Curry, he's not the case. But everyone knows and loves Steph Curry, right? I argue that
Yeah,
he could be the
exactly. He's not the face.
he just got the
Who is the
championship.
face?
Yeah. who is the
They
face? I
still
think
LeBron.
it's still LeBron James.
He's not the best player
Everyone
in the
still
world,
thinks
but
it's
he's still the
LeBron.
face of the NBA.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and exactly that's true. I like that point that you said right there. You don't have to be the best player to be the face,
yeah,
also either. So, or the best player at
yeah,
the current
yeah.
time.
This
You know what I'm
plays
saying?
into
Because
that. This
at a
plays
current
into
time,
that
LeBron
talk
was,
I was saying
but
earlier.
also things have changed.
When literally, I feel like now when LeBron retires, is that when Steph Curry becomes the face of the NBA?
I think, and we only gonna get 3 years of that because he's 35 and 38 right now.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
about to say
he's
that. I'm
definitely,
like, we
but
acting
and
like
that's the
Steph got a
thing.
lot of
That's why I
time.
was like,
The
he's
man's
kind
gonna
of
be falling off
he's.
soon
I
too.
wouldn't say getting short in the stick, but it's like, damn. Does I know being the face of the NBA is not like a huge thing, but it's like, damn, his when you look
It's not. It don't
back
get you
into
no
the
extra
history
money.
books,
Well, maybe some
when
deals,
we get
but
older
eh.
and the the younger generation is going to be like talking about history of NBA and all this stuff. Will I would expect Steph to still be in that conversation of that talk, but I feel like he'd be like the afterthought kind of conversation. Like he'd be like, "Oh, do y'all?" It's kind of like when Reggie Miller, like they treat him like Reggie Miller. Like Reggie Miller, he wasn't.
Now, you
Hold on, hold
can't
on, hold on. Or no,
you
I
can't
wouldn't say
talk.
Reggie Miller.
Okay,
You know
my
what? I'll go back. It'll be more like Charles Barkley sometimes, because Charles. Because I'm trying to think of who was
oh,
the
Wait, say
second
that
best
again.
player in the league behind Jordan. Like
Oh, I couldn't
I
tell you.
would
I
probably,
wasn't alive.
I would probably, I
For
wouldn't
real,
say
how can
Karl
I answer
Malone.
that question if
yeah,
I wasn't there? I
oh,
wasn't
It
in
would
the
probably be Karl
barbershop.
Malone.
I wasn't there. I wasn't in the barbershops to
Yeah.
talk about it. I wasn't watching it on TV. I wasn't who they were talking about on Sports Center that night. I can't go back to Sports Center in the 90s and be like, this is who they was talking about. I can't go to
Well,
the
I
barbershop in
only
the
say that
90s and be like, this is
because
who everybody was talking
it's
about.
like
I could
with
just
the
go off of
'80s, we knew who
highlights.
was the two faces
So,
of the league. It was Magic and Bird. So it's like that was the faces of the league. Really, it was more. Magic was supposed to be the face of the league, but they was kind of racist. So it
yeah.
was Bird.
Ma-
So it's kind of different.
Magic was the face, but Bird was the
Yeah.
white hope. That's
So it's
what it was.
like, and then Jordan, it was like he's the greatest. He was the face of the NBA, but Carl was the second best player. So it's like, but he played in a time where there's a bunch of greats like Elijah Wan and all these other people where they're great, but only a conversation about them after you talk about Jordan. So that's kind of how Steph
And
Curry's going to
honestly,
be. The
mhm.
you can't
conversation is
talk
going
Bron without
this
Curry.
the conversation about LeBron is going to be when you talk about LeBron, you're going to have to mention Steph Curry because he plays a huge part in the LeBron James story. So
Yeah, bro.
It depending on what era of LeBron, because LeBron, we also
yeah,
got to remind ourselves LeBron's played for so long to the point where he's so different from everybody else's career
but
to the
that's
point
the
where now
thing
we
though.
got to say
So
like he's had different
when
obstacles.
you talk about LeBron, right, and you say what part of him, he he only it's kind of really like I would say it's really like
The man had
that's what I'm
two
saying.
rings before he
He
even
has
faced
three.
Steph
His
Curry
career
in the
only has
finals.
three parts really
So
right
it's
now.
like
It's only
separate careers.
I would consider only three parts of it
Uh
because you have
yeah,
the
three. Yeah,
first
yeah, yeah,
part
yeah, yeah, yeah,
when he's in
yeah.
Cleveland he can't get it done. The part in Miami when he yeah that
I think
okay yeah
Miami
I
and
would
Cleveland
consider
are
that
still the
first
first. I
and
think coming back to
that's where you get the
Cleveland, I
Steph
think
Curry.
coming back to Cleveland is a small piece.
You you have to
Yeah,
talk
the
about you're
Steph
gonna
Curry
end up having
starts
to
in
talk
part
about him
two,
because he plays such a
and
big role.
Honestly,
I've
you can't talk LeBron without talking Curry
okay,
or even the
okay.
Warriors either, bro. And it's low key kind of fun fact. Like Bron, I want to say is one of his first game winners when he, like, his rookie year was against the Warriors over Curry. Like real shit.
Okay. Okay. I think it's different because okay, here's how I break it down. First phase is Cleveland leaving Miami, yada yada yada. Has no Curry's involved in part one. Part two is all about versus Curry. And then part three is now that he's in the West, it's all about getting past Curry
Uh,
in a
kind of,
way, or
but
surpassing
that was
him,
his first time.
or being compared to. I feel like hold on. I feel like his LA stint has been more of like I'm being compared to Curry, as to where the Cleveland stint in the middle was I gotta go against him. So I feel like Curry's only been involved in part two and part three, Mostly just part two.
But
Part
that's what I
three
say.
is not as
Like
much because compared to part
part
three,
one
because the
wasn't
stakes were
a
higher
big.
when they played
Part
each
one's
other.
not really big for him because it's like, oh yeah, because the only
Big
reason
for
I
who?
say that
LeBron?
because you have to think he okay, he couldn't get the job done in Cleveland because he didn't have much help. So that's why I kind of that's where that story ends, right? And he ends up becoming a villain. He was a hero in Cleveland, and he ends up becoming a villain in Miami, right? That's how this is the arc of the story, right? He becomes a villain in Miami, and this is when everybody starts really hating LeBron. So he wins the chips. Like I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say it was easy for him to win the chips, but it wasn't as much of a struggle
No, it was not.
when he had faced when he faced Golden State when he went back to Cleveland. That's what I'm saying. Like around that time, yeah, think around the time he won his chips against the Spurs still put up a fight, but they were on the tail end of their careers too. I'm not discrediting his
Yeah.
championships at all, but I'm saying around that time, it's like, yo, he was at the height of his powers, like at the height of his powers, taking on these old like zombies, basically, that could still put up a fight if you let them. If you keep them in the fight, they'll put up a fight. That's kind of how the Spurs were. So that's why I said it's once you get to that part two of him going back to Cleveland, kind of him still being that he's a tween. We call it a tweener in the wrestling world. He's a tweener where he's a hero and a villain because he's a hero to Cleveland, but he's still a villain because he left and that's not how you do it. He left to team up
Mhm.
with other heroes or other villains to get the job done.
Shit, Superman left Earth.
But
Goddamn.
that's why I say his second part is that Curry conversation, and it's such a big part of his story because he goes back home. He has to fight this superpowers of a team, in Curry and the Warriors. And I think what they went to the finals three times. I think they went three straight, four straight
Fourth straight.
finals.
Fourth straight.
That's something you never
That first time ever in
you're never
sports
going to see
history.
that ever
The
again.
same team.
And that's where I'm like, man, Curry's when you bring up Curry, you're gonna have to bring up LeBron. And with LeBron, sooner or later you're gonna have to bring up Curry. With Curry, you have to bring up LeBron.
Of course.
It's been validated.
Well, okay. Well, hold on. I don't think we have to because one thing we don't need to do,
No,
we
no, no,
don't
no,
always
no.
have
I'm
to
not saying
compare,
compare it.
and we don't always have to like
It's
bring in
not comparison.
somebody
It's just
else.
like we to tell that story.
Well, okay, you're
As of
saying
like
bring him up in the
No,
sense
when you
we
of
talk
talking
what?
about
about
the
the
And what
story
GOAT,
of
type of
LeBron.
Steph
conversation
Curry.
are we
We talking.
talking about? Oh, you're talking about the story of LeBron. Yeah, of course, because that's part of it's who he faced.
No, I'm
Any
saying
person that he faced is going to be part of his
For
story.
Steph
Not
Curry,
Paul.
you have to bring him
The
up because
Spurs are going to
We're
be
that's
part
talking
of
that
his
mountain
story.
Houston.
he had to climb to get that championship, no matter what.
And in part, yeah, exactly. Part two and three are part two. Okay, I feel like okay. Here's what it is. Part one. Oh shit! I hit the mic. My bad, y'all. Part one is the Spurs. That's who he had to get past because they swept them, and then that's when he had to go against them in the finals with Miami and stuff like that. So he has that. The Spurs are part one. They're that. Part two is about Curry. Part three is a combination of age, people doubting you, the young guys on the way up, still with a little bit of Curry at the back of the bus. Like
Yeah,
it's like a whole bus of people, a whole bus of challenges where you got your age, you got the LA spotlight, you got the steps of the shoes that you have to fill in of Kobe, R.I.P. to him because he had passed, and then like Shaq being used to go play there, and Magic and Kareem and all these legends of LA, and then you also had the who else was on the bus? You got Curry who's in your conference. So now you had to get past him. You had to beat him in the play-in. You had to beat him this year. So it's like you don't have. So it's like now the guy that you beat, whenever you beat, you were at the top. Now he's just part of your journey just to get to the top. Like now he's just the minor step. The guy who used to be the hugest step to you in phase two is now just a tiny bit of the step now because there's everything else, all these other factors. You got your age, you got your son, you got so many
yeah.
other factors of
Like
what it
once
is.
once
Which
the
is
So
that's what I'm
I
saying.
think
So that's what I'm
part
saying.
three
For
is not just
LeBron,
Curry. Part
Curry
three,
comes
Curry's in
in
there.
chapter two, right? He comes into that. He comes. He's the headline of
Curry's chapter.
chapter two and
He's the headline of chapter two. He's the
part three
back
for
burner.
LeBron. LeBron is a part of part one for Curry.
Yes.
Like he's a part of that part one. He's a part of that part
Oh,
one.
okay. Now we're
Cause it's
doing
like
Curry's.
his 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 part one
Yeah.
is that
I feel
injury
like part
and
one for Curry was getting
then
over that injury.
really that's kind of how, and the injury didn't really last that long though. That's the thing. People try to make it seem like it lasted forever. It was really like only a year.
Yeah, I don't. I'm
Yeah,
not saying it
it was
lasted
that
forever. I'm
year.
just saying
It's
that it was
because you got to
significant
think
enough.
he got hurt
I feel like
one
LeBron was
year, and
like
the year
part
he
one
got
B.
hurt, he was out for that whole year, and he comes back. Clay just got drafted, and then the year after that, Draymond gets drafted, and then they got Mark Jackson there, and then after a year after that, Steve Kerr. I want to say Mark Jackson was there for 2 years. I want to say he was there for two years. Kenneth might know. He'll probably remember. Tell me the date.
I want to say like
Two,
two,
yeah.
two to
He
four,
wasn't he
two to
wasn't
four,
there
no
that
more.
long. Steve Kerr shows up
He wasn't there for the beginning of Curry, but I think like
his second or third
his
year.
second or third
That's
year.
after they got Draymond. Mark Jackson was there. And that's when
Yeah,
after a couple of
Hmm.
years, he gets fired. Steve Kerr shows up and boom, instantly championship. So that's why I count that as one. That's actually the whole first chapter of Curry. What- Chapter two is mess.
Chapter two is
Chapter
meshing with
two is
KD. Chapter two begins. Chapter one ends with
yeah,
him losing 3-1. That's where chapter one ends. Like that's why I feel like LeBron is like part one B. Part one A is like getting into the NBA, the 50
yeah.
point game, the injury, making a name for himself as more than just Dale Curry's son or as more than just the 3-point shooter out of Davidson. Part one B is getting that championship and that MVP and then losing to LeBron right after that, blowing the 3-1 lead. Part two is meshing with KD.
Part three
And
is
I say
after
part
is the
three
year
is
after
I feel like
that's the
it,
thing. You can't dedicate that whole. That's why I say his chapter one ends once KD leaves. No, because
damn,
but
that's a
it's not
long
because
chapter one.
it happens really, it
But then
happens
again,
really fast. Because all of
LeBron's
this,
chapter
this
one
is
was
all
pretty
in
long.
continuous time. It's really fast. It's fly like his career really flew by for Steph.
Yeah, so that's why it's also like
Yeah, he's not gonna have a three chapter
maybe
story.
he's not gonna have three chapters like LeBron.
Chapter two
You know, he's gonna have
is
two. I
after
feel like
KD
chapter
leaves
two was yeah, like you
because
said,
then they
KD
kind of went on
left.
a
KD
downfall
left.
for
Yeah, I
one
get
year.
you.
Well,
I
they went
get
on a
you. So
downfall for
he's in the
2 years.
second chapter.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's why LeBron's story is kind of better. I'm gonna be honest with you.
oh yeah,
If you
that's what I
ask
was
me which
saying. Steph,
documentary I'm
I was
watching, I'm
saying
not
Steph
watching the
Curry is
Curry
in. He's on
documentary.
the bad part of it
I'm
because
not watching because
his
also
whole
and it's
first
like
chapter of his story is boring and it beats and beating LeBron.
it's boring.
Like you have to bring up LeBron for his story. You don't have you have a
That's
whole
true. You
entire
don't have
if
to.
you
You
want to
can go
do
a
like
whole chapter
the
of
first
LeBron.
dance a Netflix kind of series type thing. Curry doesn't show up till like what episode 3, maybe 3 or 4.
You know how movies kind of show like the end where they do like this is what they did after this. After this, he went to this college. You could do that with LeBron winning the chip in Miami and then saying after this, LeBron finally returned to Cleveland. And then that's it. And then you just fade off into the sun. You could show his evolution of being in high school, getting into the getting drafted, getting swept, losing to Boston, all those things. Show him leaving Miami, everybody hating him, finally getting his own redemption, and then just not even make the story about him going to Cleveland. You could just say LeBron moves back to Cleveland where he finally got the ring for his city. And then you could just ride it off in the sunset. But Curry, you can't even get there because, like you said, it starts. This story doesn't even really pick up until he gets
And that's
to
why I kind
play
of
against LeBron.
like I'm talking in my mind. I think about this like barbershop kind of talks, right? Because usually, you know how you talk about Jordan, you're like, oh man, he had got over the hump of
Hmm.
Detroit. He wins a chip. He just goes away, and he like the story it picks up. Like all these people are involved in the climb, but for for Steph, it's kind of like instantly it's like, yo, the story didn't pick up. Like you have to start off with, man, he got over injury, but once he got over injury, he was good, and he ended up having to face LeBron 4 times in a row. LeBron, yeah, it's like,
It's the
oh, he
same way
played
that
the
you had to say
Spurs.
LeBron had to play the Spurs. You can't tell
Yeah.
LeBron's story without the
Yeah,
Spurs.
and
You can't tell
I'm
Curry's
saying
story without LeBron.
barbershop
It's just
talk
that
wise,
simple.
you could tell LeBron's story. You could tell LeBron's story
It's the same for KD too.
without Curry for a while. For Curry, you have to bring LeBron in there early.
Him and
Yeah,
KD, you can't Curry and KD, you cannot tell their story without.
yeah. They
Damn.
kind of was
Now
like
come to
fuck
think of it, they
LeBron,
both really was like fuck
and
this
that's why
nigga.
like that's where he ends up becoming a villain. That's what like no like
Man.
they fuck with him, but
But in reality, they're the villains. Because when do superheroes team up to beat a villain? It's more villains
yeah,
team up to beat a
that's how it
superhero.
usually
That's
was.
usually how it
But
really boils
you have
down.
to think Steph Curry is never going to be a villain. Come on, man. The baby face is his nickname is the baby.
Because he's light and bright. I don't like that
But
too. It's because he's
it's
light and
also
bright. If he was
because
dark, they would have did it. I'm just being
really
honest.
is a villain teaming up with a hero to take down another hero. Because KD is considered a villain because of his actions. That's why he's because of his actions of if you can't beat him, join him. That's the only reason he becomes a villain. That's another topic for another day.